YouTube, what's going on? So, how many of you got an old lawnmower that you haven't used in a while because you've had someone doing your lawn and they haven't been doing it? Like this lawn over here. I've got this old lawnmower. It's not that old. It's actually a good lawnmower, but the guy that was doing my lawn hasn't done it in forever. The grass is so high, like you saw, and it doesn't run at all now, which maybe that's the reason why he hasn't been coming around. I'm gonna go and refurbish this lawnmower back to better than it was from the factory, and it's really easy to do. Number one cause of lawnmowers that don't want to run is A, the spark plug, which I believe has already been changed, and number two, old air filters. You know, you fix old air filters? I'll show you. You can take this thing and refurbish it just like this. Buy a new one. They're like 10 bucks. Before you put this on, you need to clean all this stuff out of it, make sure all that's clean, spray some carb spray in here. So anyhow, we're gonna do all that, get this thing where it'll run, and then I'm gonna show you how to make it cut better than it ever did before, and it's not gonna cost you a dime. When you're blowing this thing out, make sure you put the old air filter back on so you don't blow all the dirt into the carburetor, because that's just gonna cause you more grief. Alright, now let's see if it'll actually start. Why am I starting it up on top of my trailer? Because I don't want to make a dust cloud fire it off. Let's just see if it'll run. Imagine that, it runs. What amazing it is to have a clean air filter in a lawnmower. That's all it needs. Alright, now we're just going to get it cleaned up, and I'm going to show you how to make it cut better than it ever knew. These lawnmowers, the way they come, this one's actually sharpened quite a ways. It's sharpened all the way to here. A lot of your lawnmowers are only sharpened about this much of your blade. Well, you got an older blade, you can go buy a more expensive aftermarket or heavy duty blade or all that, and it'll cost you 20, 30 bucks or whatever. But there's nothing wrong with this blade besides it's dull. We're gonna take this one bolt out, and then we're just gonna take it and sharpen it. And by sharpening the whole blade, and you want to, like, this part of the blade is sharp, not this part, of course, and the opposite on this side, per the rotation of your lawnmower. Now you want to sharpen it all the way from here, all the way to the end. That way, you know, as you're going through cutting, you know, whatever doesn't get cut here, doesn't get cut here, doesn't get cut here. Eventually, you know, with as many revolutions as that grass goes by, eventually it'll hopefully get cut down here. And I tell you what, just by doing that alone will make your lawnmower work like it's twice the size it normally is. I mean, it just makes all the difference in the world. I mean, of course it helps to, you know, do your lawn regularly like you're supposed to, but if you're like me and work too much, sometimes that's not always an option. Okay, so we got our lawnmower blade off, and as you can see here, it's completely dull. I mean, there's like, that won't cut my finger, it sure as hell won't cut grass. So, anyhow, we're gonna take our bench grinder here, fire it up, and what we're going to do is we're not going to sharpen this thing like a knife. We're not going to sharpen both sides. We're just going to sharpen the one side, and we're going to sharpen it down to where it's nice and sharp. And then when we get done putting that nice sharp edge on it, we're just barely going to touch the back side to give it just a little bit of a angle, like so. That way, if you make it just completely and totally just razor sharp on it, every little thing it hits is just going to fold it over. But if you give it just a little bit of angle back, it helps it to hold the edge a little bit longer. You want to put it at kind of a hard angle, like so. Slow and steadily just going through, taking material off. It's already getting better. Keep in mind this thing's going to get hot, and the part that's never been sharpened before is going to take more time on the grinder than the part that's already been sharpened before. And you remember, you want to start from your bolt and go out. So that's what it looks like basically when you're done. Remember, you're not building a sword. It doesn't have to be perfectly symmetrical all the way through. It just has to be sharp. The grass clippings aren't going to know the difference. But anyhow, that's what it looks like there, as opposed to, that's basically what it looked like started off with. Okay, so now we're going to do the other side, and then I'm going to show you how to balance the blade after you're done, which is an important step, because this thing rotating on there, you're taking material off of it. You want it to be as level as possible, and I'll show you real quick how to do that. Take you a nail, punch, something, lay it on here. See, this side, of course, is heavier than this side because I haven't taken any material out of it. Now I'm going to sharpen the other side, and what we want is for this to sit just like so. I've got both sides of my blade sharpened up from the bolt to the tip. Got all the extra material removed. Got it pretty much the way I want it, and it's pretty damn sharp. Now we're just going to hang it off our spindle here, right in the middle on the bolt. See which side's a little heavier. Yeah, that's pretty close. If y'all can see that or not. But it's just slightly heavier on that side, so I'm going to take a little bit more material off of this side, sharpen it just a little bit more to balance it out. And by a little bit, I mean a little bit. I'm going to use my smoother stone here, my higher grit stone. Okay. There it is there. And that's literally how much it took to balance it out. Now, we're gonna go install it back on the lawnmower and try her out. Let's see if it'll cut my waist-high weeds I got. Now, I'm just gonna reinstall it. Make sure you put your blade on the proper way, because you can actually put it on backwards and they ain't gonna cut nothing. But you can either mark it ahead of time, or you could just look at the clean surface where it mounted up to. And you can tell that's the side that the bolt went on, that's the side that went up against the drive. But we're just going to install it back on to the drive. We've already cleaned this off good, so we make sure that that sits nice and flat. Make sure you get it splined up with the teeth well, because if this thing fires up and it's not right, yeah, you could destroy your lawnmower real quick. Or worse, shoot shrapnel everywhere. That could be worse. Make sure you get it on there good and tight. I suggest using an impact gun, and if you don't, you can shove a block of wood in here and tighten it down with a wrench. But impact gun works really well. Make sure it's good and seated. Give it a few taps on both sides. Make sure it's not going anywhere. I'm gonna hit it one more time just to be safe. It ain't going anywhere. All right, let's see how it cuts. All right, we're gonna fire it up. Now it's nice and smooth, and the reason that is because all those times that this thing's hit a rock or all that, I've thrown the balance of blade off. Now that I've ground the blade and balanced it, now it's super smooth again. So again, and it didn't cost me anything. I didn't spend, you know, $25, $30, even $50 on a blade. So anyhow, we just got it set up basically to mulch, and we're gonna go over this ridiculous yard over here and show you how good it cuts. Okay, so I'm gonna go mow the lawn. I'm basically just gonna use the self-propelled on it and let it go at its own speed, mulching, which, you know, if any of you guys know, if your grass is like ridiculously high like mine is, and you're using the mulching feature, the thing's gonna bog out and quit right away in the first like couple feet. But since this thing's been all sharpened up all the way, you're gonna be amazed at the difference. I mean, it'll still bog out, but if I had the side shooter on it where it could shoot it out, man, this thing would blow through this stuff like it's nothing. But try doing that with your lawnmower on the mulch mode and see how it works out for you. But anyhow, that's the difference. It is a sharpened blade. Makes all the difference in the world. Okay, so just to show you guys how well this thing will cut if you have the side shooter on it, I'm not going to change it out because this has got a heavy spring in it and it's a real pain to do. And I don't want to bag all this stuff. I just want to cut it down because there's a lot of good seed in it. I mean, granted, there's a lot of weeds and stuff in it, but I don't really care if my dog ruins the yard anyway. I just kind of want to make it look like somebody lives here and the house isn't abandoned. So anyhow, I'm going to fire it up and show you guys how well this thing cuts with the side shooter propped open with a bungee cord. Look at that. Try doing that with your own lawnmower at home. Brand new lawnmower won't cut that good, guaranteed. But sharpening the blade all the way like that, and if you notice, there's not a whole bunch of spriggly sitting up that weren't cut. They're all cut off, and that's because it's cutting with the whole width of the blade. Look at that, right on through that enormously high stuff. I mean, my dog's about 80 pounds, so you can imagine. He's probably really happy he can actually see the ground. He's not wading through the weeds anymore. And there you have it. Basically, we took a lawnmower that wouldn't even run, and we spent $10 on an air filter, got it running, and now it cuts better than it did when it was brand new. And it only took, what, a whopping less than 10 minutes of work to get it to that point. So anyhow, if you've got an old lawnmower and it's not cutting as good as it used to and you're thinking about buying a new one, you might want to try just taking the blade off, sharpening it up, change the air filter, the spark plug, put some new gas in it, maybe even change the oil, which honestly is really easy. There's 1,000 YouTube videos on how to do that. And give that a shot. I mean, what do you have to lose? You're going to get rid of it anyway. Might as well see if you can fix it rather than buy a new one.